The history of our Earth is so different from what we can imagine.
Enjoy the journey.
The Smithsonian, if they found out about a large skeleton somewhere, was to go get it.
I'm going to assume at least one person is right, because if one person's right, it busts the paradigm.
It all goes back to the fallen cherub. And the problem with the modern day church, they have a very truncated view of the supernatural.
This backdrop that's just pregnant with all kinds of meaning associated with this Mount Hermon event.
Welcome to Blurry Creatures.
And this guy defects from the kingdom. That's a big deal.
Hey, welcome back to Blurry Creatures. This week we have an exclusive episode on our members area with Seth Breedlove from Small Town Monsters. We're talking about Mothman, and you've heard a little bit of that on previous episodes from Joe Taylor talked about a lady hitting Mothman with her car, and Fritz had one in the back seat of his car, supposedly. Who knows? So we go into detail. We asked Seth as a documentarian, hey, what's it like making these movies, talking about cryptid creatures? What is Mothman? We go into detail. That's episode 33. It lives on the site. Here's a little trailer for that.
That's the thing about Mothman that I think is so weird is that the descriptions don't align. And so you might get characteristics that do here and there. In the 60s, there were a lot of those reports of seeing it, and I guess even up to present day, of when it flies, it doesn't flap its wings, it just takes off straight up in the sky, right? Like there were a lot of reports that were like that. There's a story in the Mothman Legacy by a lady who said that she talked to a witness who claimed that when it walked, when what she saw walked, its legs bent inward, like backward, almost like it was jointed, like a bug. And there are other reports like that, like when this thing walks, it's like it's never walked before when you see it. But the thing about it is there's so many reports and so many of them don't sound anything alike. And even during the 60s sightings, Tom Urey, who was a witness who was driving near the TNT area, but he would have been closer to the Ohio River. He saw this giant bird fly overhead. I mean, what he saw basically sounds like a thunderbird.
Something that we do on Blurry Creatures is maybe different than other podcasts. Is I came from the music industry where we would spend 2 years making 12 tracks and then putting that album out there. We would hyper obsess about every detail of those songs, and while I understand it's a podcast, it's not supposed to be absolutely perfect. We try to, take out the fluff and edit down the goods for you guys so that you listen to an hour-long conversation and it feels like it went by in 10 minutes. Sometimes the reason it feels that way is because we spend a lot of time editing out the ums and the buts and the I don't knows and, just those moments in a conversation that can derail the whole thing mentally. You want to stay engaged in the material. So if you like that, if you like what we do, that takes hours and hours and hours, and then we do hours of, Photoshop, videos, all kinds of things. So what we do on Blurry Creatures is we're trying to make this palatable, interesting, and packaged in a way that's entertaining. Again, that's just a little detail about what we do on this show. If you like Bigfoot, cryptids, giants, Nephilim, and all that weird stuff, but you like the production that we do, help us keep making this content, because that's what we want to do. We just want to shout out to a whole group of new members that came in yesterday. A lot of people getting involved, and we've gotten some great feedback on Dr. Michael Heiser's episode, which already lives on the site. You can listen to that early. So we appreciate you guys out there listening, supporting our show, and sending it around. Thank you so much. Look forward to Dr. Michael Heiser's episode coming out Sunday, episode 34, The Forgotten Prologue. Stay blurry.